Welcome to Lopel Consulting's presentation, What It Takes to Win a Mega Bid. Now let me introduce the speakers. Hi, I'm Brenda Christ. I'm a Vice President of the Lopel Consulting Group, also an APMP Fellow. With me today is Bruce Feldman, also a Lopel Consulting Vice President, who heads our AI/Gen AI division. He also is our lead AI trainer. And Dana Catalinas, a Vice President and a Senior Account Manager with Lopel Consulting. Let's get started. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to learn what it takes to win a mega bid, trends in mega bid procurements, strategic and tactical plans that you need to win a mega bid, spotlight on 4 megabids, and our conclusions. Let's talk about what it takes to win a megabid. And before that, let me describe what a megabid is. It is a bid that is either a multi-billion-dollar bid or maybe it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. These bids are game changers for companies and require a deliberate, strategic approach that aligns a company's resources, expertise, and insights. So let's break it down what it takes to win a mega bid. First, a detailed understanding of the customer's requirements. You need to dig in deep to the agency's and the customer's mission, objectives, risks, and hot buttons. It means going beyond the RFP to truly understand what the customer needs. Second, you're going to need knowledge of the trends driving these mega bid procurements. You need to stay ahead of where the federal government is spending its dollars, whether it's technology modernization, cybersecurity, or knowing those trends gives you a competitive edge. By mastering these factors, you can position your team to deliver a proposal that not only meets the requirements, but stands out and is the obvious choice. Let's talk about the next item, what we need to win. It's a strategic plan. Success is not accidental. It is planned. A winning strategy aligns your strengths with the customer's priorities. And it also anticipates the customer's moves and maps out a clear path to victory. Fourth, you're going to need a curated enterprise library, which gives you the ability to efficiently extract the information that you need to win. Fifth, you're going to need discriminating strengths. You're going to need the highest score. And hopefully there's a very large delta between you and the next offer. Sixth, you're going to need a highly trained bid team. Training is not optional. It is the backbone of your success. And finally, you need to invest strategically. Winning these mega bids requires investing smartly in people, tools, and training. It means you're ready to allocate resources to proposal development, solution prototypes, and everything you do to ensure compliance. Winning a mega bid, like I mentioned before, starts out with your detailed understanding and your relationship with the customer. You need to collect information first, probably from secondary sources, to improve your understanding of the customer's plans, roadmaps, documents, and any insights you can gather. These sources provide a deep understanding of their long-term objectives and how they're going to interact with their users, stakeholders, other contractors, and other agencies. Next, you're going to get primary information from the customer. And I'm not talking about just your contracting officer's representative. I'm talking about that 360-degree ring of everybody who is involved in the procurement. That's including executives, contracting officers, users, vendors, etc. And once you collect that information, you have to make sure that you automatically record it within 24 hours in your enterprise library to make sure it can be easily dispersed to your writers and your solution architects. Also, don't overlook collecting information about potential issues, risks, and challenges. Proactively addressing these not only strengthens your proposal, but also demonstrates your understanding of the customer's pain points. Compliance is critical. Verify your understanding of the agency's workflows, schedules, regulatory requirements. Proposals that fail to meet standards are often disqualified outright. Examine the agency's tools, any integration challenges they may face, and tailor your solution to ensure compatibility and seamless implementation. By building a complete picture of your customer's requirements, you can craft a proposal that resonates with them and solves their challenges and wins that contract for you. And now Dana will talk about operational trends.
Governments are investing heavily in cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and agile software development to modernize legacy systems. RFPs increasingly call for solutions that improve user experience, streamline processes, and enhance scalability. To stay competitive, highlight your ability to deliver modern, secure, and user-centric technology solutions. Next is data-driven decision-making. Agencies are prioritizing analytics tools and platforms to leverage the power of big data. These RFPs emphasize the need for tools that enable real-time insights, predictive analysis, and enhanced decision-making. When responding, showcase your experience with analytics, data visualization, and interoperability across systems. Cybersecurity remains critical. As threats evolve, so do RFP requirements for robust cybersecurity measures, zero trust architectures, and compliance with standards like FedRAMP and NIST. Additionally, national security concerns extend to protecting critical infrastructure and sensitive information. Ensure your proposal demonstrates an understanding of these priorities and a proven ability to deliver secure solutions. Another key trend is supply chain resilience. Recent disruptions have prompted agencies to focus on ensuring the availability of critical goods and services. RFPs may now require program transparency in supply chains, risk mitigation strategies, and redundancy plans. Highlight your supply chain analysis and resilience planning capabilities to stand out. Cost control and efficiency remain top priorities. RFPs increasingly ask bidders to demonstrate how their solutions achieve better outcomes at lower costs, whether through automation, streamlined processes, or innovative contracting models. Focus on quantifiable savings and measurable efficiencies in your proposals. Finally, infrastructure improvement is front and center, driven by significant federal funding initiatives. These RFPs cover projects like broadband expansion, transportation systems, and energy infrastructure. Responding to these requires a clear understanding of project management, compliance, and environmental standards. Let's discuss multi-phase evaluation processes. Agencies are increasingly adopting multi-step approaches to streamline the evaluation of proposals. These processes often start with the preliminary screening phase, such as submitting technical approaches or past performance summaries, before moving to a detailed assessment. This means you must excel at every stage, especially in the early phases, to advance to the next round. Winning strategies include crafting concise, impactful initial submissions and prioritizing compliance. Self-scoring proposals are becoming more common, particularly government-wide acquisition contracts or GWACs. Companies must carefully analyze scoring templates to compete, maximize every point available, and provide verifiable evidence for each claim. To land high scores, companies must prepare years in advance to ensure they have the necessary industry certifications and past performances across multiple NAICS codes. They also must be able to demonstrate their unique value to the customer. Government agencies continue to prioritize small business opportunities. To capitalize on this trend, small businesses should build strong relationships with primes, emphasize niche capabilities, and leverage certifications like 8A, HubZone, or SDVOSB. Larger companies should align with qualified small business partners to meet subcontracting goals and strengthen their proposals. Next, we're seeing a rise in oral and interactive evaluations. Agencies are moving beyond static paper submissions to assess bidders in real time through oral presentations, scenario-based exercises, and Q&A sessions. This trend emphasizes the importance of preparation, storytelling, and team chemistry. Companies must practice thoroughly, anticipate potential questions, and ensure their presenters can clearly articulate their strengths and address evaluators' concerns on the spot. Strict page limits are now standard in RFPs, forcing bidders to be concise. To adapt, use compliant, well-designed outlines, emphasize strengths early, and focus on graphics and visuals to convey complex ideas. Every word must count, so effective editing and review are essential. Bruce is going to talk about strategic plans to win.
As you make your decision on which mega bids to pursue, you need to take into account how well these bids align with your corporate strategy. What's your plan for growth? Which opportunities are you going to pursue because they offer a deeper position with current customers or the opportunity to pursue work with adjacent customers as well? And can you actually win the work once you've awarded the IDIQ? So you need to take a look at what your revenue forecast is, not only the potential hunting license effect of having access to the parent IDIQ vehicle, but can you actually drive revenue through the contract vehicle itself? Many of us, I suspect, have already had the experience of winning an IDIQ, having the win celebration, the win party, and then being unable to drive revenue through the contract, and ultimately having found that your return on investment is zero. So you need to plan not only for winning the megabit itself, but also winning the underlying task orders, because you and your competitors are both looking at this as an opportunity to win new business as well as to retain incumbent work. So you need to make sure you have a robust win strategy, a plan for implementing those key features of your bid that will differentiate you from your customers. And you need to have a robust value proposition as well, a story for why the customer should not only pick you, but establish your reputational position so you can compete effectively on the task orders. One of the key areas that Lofeld has identified for winning these megabids is making sure you have a robust, curated enterprise library. It's going to become increasingly important that you be able to find within your corporate holdings the essential data that you need, so you're not relying on tribal knowledge and not spending precious staff hours looking for the information you require, especially for self-scoring megabids. You can use both human and AI resources in your enterprise library, doing both word search and semantic search, that is, search for related meaning using natural language processing techniques. But regardless, you're going to want to have a capability to access relevant corporate information. That doesn't include just past performance, it goes well beyond that. Anything that gives you customer or competitor insight, corporate capabilities, information you need to anticipate and forestall risk, and competitive analysis all belong in your enterprise library, so you can access it at a moment's notice. And you need to make sure you maintain that library. As information becomes outdated, it needs to be removed from your library. As relevant information becomes available, it needs to be added to your library. And any library infrastructure, be it folder-based to metadata tagging or other techniques, will need to be updated commensurately. So if you're going to win in the anticipated environment we have for the next few years, you've got to consider how you're going to outscore your competitors, not only on the IDIQ, but also on the task orders that will emerge once you've won your megabid. The current environment suggests that we're going to see increased emphasis on the contractor's ability to deliver innovation, automation, cost control, and speed to award. All of these conditions have implications for how you choose to bid and what differentiators and discriminators you're going to offer up in your bids. There are major uncertainties in the ecosystem today on the industry side for GovCon. Small business set-asides and goals are evolving with the earth moving even as we speak under our feet. We're also going to see dramatic changes in funding and priorities. We've seen many already. There certainly are more to come, even for customers that historically have had very stable funding base. So when you write your proposal, whether it be for the megabid IDIQ itself or for the task orders that result, you'll need to be able to clearly state your value proposition, what it is that you want the customer to know in order to select you, and also the proof that a company that provides the ability to perform that the customer desires, so you have substantive credibility in their selection process. You need to prepare to apply automation, be it artificial intelligence or other techniques, in order to reduce your indirect costs, produce more bids for less dollars. And finally, you're going to have to be able to show not only that you can create solutions to solve customer problems, but that you know how to deploy and operate those solutions in realistic operational environments.
Now let's talk about highly trained teams. This year, bid and proposal professionals are redefining their career priorities to stay competitive. The results reveal significant shift. 50% of respondents prioritize proficiency in AI, Gen AI, and technology, outpacing traditional career development areas like training, mentorship, and networking. Here's how those priorities stack up. 22% of our other respondents identified training and certification as their top priority, while 15% identified mentorship and leadership, and the remaining 13% identified networking opportunities. This data underscores a transformation in how professionals approach career growth, with technology skills taking center stage. And now Brenda's going to talk about strategic investments.
Thanks, Dana. Winning multi-billion and multi-million-dollar bids require a significant investment across multiple areas, ensuring a company is competitive, compliant, and capable of large-scale contracts. Here are some key types of investments you might consider making. Number one, business development and capture investments. These include investments in market intelligence tools, capture teams, competitive analyses, and teaming and partnerships. Second, investments in proposal development, proposal management, and teams that can write winning proposals. Hiring or outsourcing experienced proposal professionals who understand compliance, strategy, and persuasive writing. You might also want to invest in graphic and desktop publishing, AI and automation tools, and color team reviews. Third, you might want to consider investments in compliance and infrastructure. These include your important certifications like ISO, CMMI, CMC, or others. You also might want to invest in legal and contract support, security clearances, and facility clearances too. Fourth, consider making technical and innovation investments, such as creating R&D labs or centers of excellence. You might also want to invest in prototypes or demonstrations and employ subject matter experts who can take your solutions to the next level. Fifth are investing in pricing and cost investments. Consider investing in competitive pricing models, investing in your bid and proposal budgets to make sure you have enough money to write an outstanding proposal, as well as ensuring your own financial stability with important cash flow and financial backing to meet your commitments. Six, you might want to consider investments in operational readiness and execution investments, such as recruitment and staffing pipelines, program management infrastructure, and supply chain logistics. And seventh, consider investments in past performance and past performance management, such as creating content libraries for your past performance or some type of customer relationship management tool. We'd like to talk about the analysis of megabids. Each month, Local Consulting publishes a list of about 45 megabids. The bids are multi-billion and multi-million dollars that are game changers in the government marketplace. We publish the megabids list on our website and feature articles and blogs about them on our website too, and in our LinkedIn newsletter. In this section of our presentation, we're going to talk about 4 megabids that we're following and which we've already written blogs about. Number 1 is Army Maps. Now that you are finished with Suit 6, I think the Army Maps contract is the next big ticket item. Maps is a mature bid that the Army will release on April 28th. Now, prior to that, they've done a lot of work. On February 7th, the Army released a new timeline and draft RFP documents and attachments with significant changes. Before that, the Army was very active in sponsoring communications with industry, including Sources Sought Notice / RFI Notice, Industry Day and Site Visit, and many other pre-RFP documents. Local Consulting has been actively blogging about maps since the Industry Day back in November. To develop a strong proposal at this point, well, I hope most of you have written your proposal, you've gotten most of your artifacts together, and with less than a month to go, you're probably in the stage of reviewing all of the information you need to make sure it is 100% compliant and that you are scoring highly on attachment 5. Now, there are risks to this proposal. Like many large RFPs and multi-billion-dollar bids, Army MAC has a self-scoring component as documented in attachment 5. The winners will likely get 90+% of all the points on that worksheet. And there's a very limited number of contracts to make sure that you are in the best position to score as highly as possible. Now, there are a couple of incumbents who are going to challenge you on this bid. They include Khaki International, MAG Aerospace, Leidos, General Dynamics, Booz Allen, SAIC, and Sev1 Tech. Now let's talk about our next megabid. And this is AETC BOS MAC. That is Base Operations Support Multiple Contract Award. It's sponsored by the U.S. Air Force Air Education and Training Command. It's worth $4 billion. The RFP date, they say, is March, but since we're at the end of March right now, I think that's likely going to slide. It's an IDIQ, and the award date's going to be most likely around April 2027. Now, we do have some information about the procurement status for you. A draft RFP was released on January 3rd. Previously, the Air Force held industry days on August 28th and August 29th and released questions on September the 10th, 2024. To develop a strong proposal, we have a couple suggestions for you. Demonstrate experience and capability supporting similar operations at multiple locations simultaneously. Provide innovative solutions to implement best practices and create efficiencies to reduce costs. Build strong partnerships and alliances to meet RFP requirements, as in the case of using Ability One contracting organizations to meet some contracting goals. Stay abreast of the evolving acquisition strategy and be prepared to adapt if needed. Now, there are some risks to this bid. The contract covers Air Force operations at multiple bases and requires contractors to potentially demonstrate the capability to manage operations or assistant operations even across multiple geographic areas, which might pose some logistical and coordination challenges. Now, there are several incumbents, and most of them are your well-known Alaskan 8As, including ASRC, Acoma, and Chugach. And right now, I'm going to turn it over to Dana, who's going to talk about CMMARS.
Thank you, Brenda. Let's talk about CMMARS, the Contracted Maintenance, Modification, Aircrew, and Related Services opportunity out of the Department of Navy Naval Air Systems Command. This is a huge opportunity worth $13 billion. The RFP is expected out in May of 2025 with an award the following March. Now, the government has been very interested in industry feedback throughout this entire process. They released a request for information in May 2024, inviting bidders to provide information on whether they thought this should be a multiple award contract, use of strategic sourcing, what the selection criteria should be, performance matrix, contract duration, and other things. They also asked the current contractors to comment on the positive and negative attributes for CMMARS. So the government has been very, very active in making sure that industry and the government are partnered together on this opportunity. To develop a strong proposal, you're going to have strong substantiating documentation. You'll need to have a clear understanding of the proposal requirements and instructions when completing the government-provided forms. Now, this is very important. Because the government has been so involved with industry, we shouldn't rely necessarily on the past solicitation to understand the proposal requirements. We'll need to make sure that we're answering the RFP that's released in May of 2025. You'll also need to identify risk and have clear mitigation strategies. One of the risks of this program is the geographical dispersion, supply chain interruption, and the decrease in foreign military sales. This contract is spread all over the place, and bidders need to be able to ensure that they can respond to the requirements at each of these areas. There are a number of incumbents on this contract: Northrop Grumman, L3 Harris, Adams Communication and Engineering, M1, Boeing, ARA, Leidos, ACT-JV, Amentum, AAR, K & Associates, V2X, Sunrise Beach, Innovair, Elbit Systems, and Ulista. Next, let's look at the Mission Support Services opportunity at White Sands Missile Range. This is a large single award opportunity valued at $500 million. The RFP is expected to be released in August of this year, with award made in August 2026. Regarding the procurement status, an industry day was held on February 12th. On March 3rd, the government provided an updated draft PWS and Q&As. The Q&As revealed that the government will not issue a draft RFP, and they cannot guarantee that sections L and M will be released early. To develop a strong proposal, offerors need to minimize risk and form strong teaming relationships to manage the multiple locations and services offered under this contract. In addition, offerors will need to review the previous solicitation to determine what the requirements were for the project cost management system required to ensure offerors can deliver real-time data tracking. As the largest fully instrumented open-air test range on the largest U.S. Army base, safety is a top concern. Offerors must be able to provide 24/7, 365 support across multiple locations and during extreme conditions while maintaining all safety standards. The incumbent on this contract is Southwest Range Services, LLC.
And now let's conclude our discussion of mega bids. Winning mega bids requires a strategic and tactical plan, strategic investments in bids and operations, a detailed understanding of the size, scope, and complexity of the customer's requirements, discriminating strengths across all evaluation criteria, and of the ability to minimize risk. In addition, you should have a curated enterprise library that enables you to quickly grab the information you need to produce a bid, thus driving down costs. You need a highly trained team that is expert in developing mega bids and a knowledge of trends driving them. And all in all, it takes a lot to win a mega bid, but with a little bit of discipline and focus, we know you can do it. Thanks for watching our presentation. And now we're going to take questions.